Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Here It Comes, Howard the Freaking Duck. Starring Leah Thompson, Jeffrey Jones, Tim Robbins, Ed Gale, Chip Zien, Tim Rose, Steve Sleabe, Peter Baird, Mary Wellis, and Lisa Stirs, forgive me, and directed by Willard Huyck. Please forgive me there, I can't pronounce your name well. And I heard, before getting into this review, that this is considered the worst movies I've seen in history, and as worse as Marvel can get as far as they're concerned. What did I think about it, or do I agree with them? Let's take a look. The whole Duckland, where Howard lives in a land full of ducks, and he's having a miserable life, is every bit as bad as this whole movie. Okay, did I reveal it too early? Forget it. When Howard flies from Duck World to Earth, we pass by a duck woman who we actually see a half-naked duck woman in the tub. And it's really inappropriate for a PG-rated movie. I was shocked that this was PG-rated, by the way. And I think PG-13 was invented by the time this came out. I could be wrong, and I know the movie that did do that, and I'll talk about it when I get to Indiana Jones or something like that. And to keep in mind, I don't think this movie is appropriate for kids under the age of 15, in my personal opinion. Leah Thompson not only is really freaking hot in this movie, I even think her daughter, Zoe Deutch, who was in such movies as Vampire Academy and Bad Grandpa and Before I Fall recently, grew up like her mother, Leah, in this movie. Also, she sings a song, Leah does, I should say, I actually really like. I don't know the name of the song, but it's good. I like the song. Did the comic book creator or the writer of this movie come with the worst lines ever? Like, for example, quack foo or no more Mr. Nice Duck? Like, ugh. If I were George Lucas, I would change the script, because this is embarrassing for him, in my personal opinion. Especially for the Star Wars creator that created the original Star Wars trilogy to make this crap up. Or, actually, it was the comic books people that made it up. Until we get to those prequels later this year. And by prequels, I'm talking about Star Wars, by the way. I'm not talking about no Howard the Duck prequels. When Howard talks with Beverly, played by Miss Thompson herself, they have no chemistry at all whatsoever, to the point that other movies, even the bad movies, have character chemistries, but this is not it. The chemistry is horrendous, in my general opinion. The acting in here is just as bad as any of the tedious movies, or bad movies for sure. Hell, even the Emoji Movie might have a better script than this damn thing. And I haven't even seen the Emoji Movie, and I don't plan to. Phil is the worst comic relief I've ever seen. Even for Tim Robbins, who I actually feel bad for, because he's a good enough actor that he even recovered from this garbage. And he won an Oscar for Mystic River, too, in 2003. But by the time we got to Green Lantern, that might have ended his career, which is a really bad thing, and I'll get there if I ever get around to Green Lantern, the Ryan Reynolds one. Is Howard a puppet? Because it was the 1980s and all when this was made, but he's a bad-looking, creepy puppet. Just in my mind. I don't know if it's the makeup job or if he's a puppet. I was really confused. When Howard plays his own tunes, the sound of the remix is good. I like the song when it plays at the end of the movie, the theme of Howard the Duck. That's all I can probably give it at this point. Dr. Walter Jennings is a terrible villain. Well, I should say this. The thing that he becomes. They never named him, but because later in the film, he turns into the stupidest monster that I just brought up just a minute ago, that even the Hulk can kill if the guy off. If Lou Ferrigno was on the TV show The Incredible Hulk. When Howard lost some feathers and Beverly says, "What are these?" And Howard says, souvenirs. I was like, oh god, we don't need a duck feathers as souvenirs. Even one that's alive. That sounds stupid. Or I should say, more like stealing his feathers. I should probably rephrase that. This movie is very PG rated family movie that acts like it's 5 years old with the dialogue and the humor, and it's just the worst. This movie, again, is not appropriate for 15-year-olds, but it acts like a 5-year-old. I don't know how that makes sense, but unfortunately, that's what it feels like. The diner scene is the stupidest scene I've seen in the history of movies with diner scenes. Seriously, I don't like this diner scene at all. It's so stupid. Jennings, or should I say the monster that went into Jennings, uses his tongue as an electrical charging machine. That was gross. Oh my god, I don't want to get into that. When Howard and Phil run from the cops and an old airplane is completely dumb as hell, especially when they fly over the town and crash it by the end of it. Oh my god, that was so freaking tedious. The final battle between Howard and the monster thing is probably the worst fight in Marvel history. It's just too trashy for me. Here it comes, the rating. Oh man, here it comes. I'll give this movie a 1.3 out of 10. This is every bit as bad as I remember seeing it. And I only saw it once before this show. And its humor is just the worst. It's unacceptable for an 80s film. And, well, I mean, it was the 80s. What the hell am I saying? But, yeah, please don't watch this either way. If you're 17 or something like that, don't watch it either way. I'll be back next week with Man Thing. And until next time...